The Michigan High School Athletic Association and Pass Sports present the Boys Basketball Finals. MHSAA on Pass is presented by Farm Bureau Insurance, proud sponsor of the MHSAA Scholar Athlete Award. By True Value Hardware, promoting good sportsmanship through the Good Sports Are Winners program. And by Tombstone Pizza.
From the Breslin Student Event Center in East Lansing, the Michigan High School Athletic Association presents the Class B championship game in the 1996 boys basketball tournament between the Pioneers of East Grand Rapids and the Yellowjackets of Detroit Country Day. Hi again, everyone. Rick Berkey alongside for our big finale here in Class B. We've already had 3 champions crowned. Let's take a look back and see what we've already seen occur here after Breslin on Championship Saturday. Earlier this morning in Class D, Tri-Unity Christian behind a state record 10 3-point baskets defeated Glen Lake from Maple City. Glen Lake also had 10 triples. In Class C, Detroit St. Martin de Porres with a solid 25-point win over Manton. And earlier in Class A, Saginaw High School came back from a 10-point deficit at half to defeat Southfield Lathrop by a score of 67-60. Now we look forward to our Class B finale, and it's a rematch of last year's championship game, won by Country Day 53-43. Now, interestingly enough, both schools won football championships back in November, and both schools are led by an all-star center in the middle. For a closer look at these two squads, let's go down to the court side, and the two gentlemen will call the action from there, Mark Crawford and John Spooner.
All right, Rick Berkey, thank you. Welcome courtside from the Breslin Arena. Been a great day of high school basketball action here, and perhaps we've saved the best for last. 2 great athletic programs, very much used to the bright lights of championship games.
Well, Mark, like the Pioneers of old, always going west, no matter what the obstacle is. East Grand Rapids has turned that around, and they go east. In March, they go east to the Breslin Center. 3 times they have come here. In November, they go east to the Pontiac Silverdome, and 2 times they've won the state championships in football, including 1995. And you look at Detroit Country Day, over the last 8 years, this is their 5th final appearance. They are 4-0 in state finals. They would love to go 5-0 in this state final.
Let's look a little closer at these 2 teams. Let's begin with East Grand Rapids, and your spotlight falls on Corbett Elsen.
Well, I don't think there can be any question. This young man is the hub of this East Grand Rapids team. He is the most consistent players. Other players play big in certain games, but Corbett Elsen is the consistent force. And the most remarkable thing about this young man, Mark, this is his 6th straight final appearance. Amazing. 3 in football, 3 in basketball. I don't think any other athlete in Michigan State high school history has ever done what he's done.
Yep. Other side of the court right now, warming up for Country Day, got to be Shane Battier.
No doubt about Shane. As a child, he used to wear a baseball jersey, basketball pants, football helmet. Loved all sports, didn't know which one he wanted, but folks in Country Day loved the fact that he chose basketball. Young man averaging 21 points a game, 13 rebounds, 6 block shots. This man is a defensive player. Most people look at the offense, but defensively, he is awfully tough inside, and East Grand Rapids has got to figure out a way to pull him away from that basket because he dominates inside.
Rick Berkey, we're expecting a great basketball game as we wrap up Championship Saturday, Country Day at East Grand Rapids.
Should be the battle of the blue and gold, so we look forward to it here on Class B Championship night here on Pass. Stay with us. Back with the starting lineups in just a moment. One of your sponsors is True Value Hardware. We're getting ready for the Class B Championship Fair here from Breslin Center on the campus of Michigan State University. It's been a great host for us, and we appreciate all the things that MSU has done for us. Let's take a look at how these teams got to the finals. From the quarters on, you see Country Day gets by Willow Run and then defeats an outstanding DeWitt team. DeWitt, your heart goes out to them. What 2 terrific years they've had, having lost only 3 games in 2 years, and the 3 games they lost to are the teams playing in the finals, twice to Country Day and once to East Grand Rapids in last year's semis. East Grand Rapids, on the other hand, has used some torrid shooting from the regional finals on. They've shot 64% from the floor as a team for their last 3 games, including solid wins over Imlay City in the quarters and over Albion in the semifinals yesterday. East Grand Rapids and Country Day will now match up. I don't expect a high-scoring contest in this one. However, the defense will be solid on both sides. Perhaps rebounding will tell the tale. We've got one more champion to crown, and then the season will be over, not only for these 2 ball clubs, but high school basketball in the state of Michigan. And we'll start making plans right now for next year's exciting action as the tournament will come back here to the Breslin. And we hope that you make it a part of your regular March plans to head out to the Breslin and watch the semifinals and finals action. Now we're getting ready for the Class B championship game, so let's go down right now for the introduction of the starting lineups. Public address announcer Eric O. Forseth.
Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, we invite you to stand. And gentlemen, please remove your hats and caps and join us in the singing of our national anthem. Very pleased to introduce Gina LaCroix, a senior at Kalkaska High School, to lead us in the singing of our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Thank you, Gina LaCroix from Kalkaska High School. Good evening. Michigan State University welcomes you to the Breslin Student Event Center for the final game in the 1996 Michigan High School Athletic Association Class B Boys Basketball Tournament. The educational value of this event is more important than its outcome. Respect for others, including opponents and officials, is one of those values. There are no excuses for taunting and trash talk. Remember, good sports are winners. And now let's meet the starting lineups for this evening's game between the Pioneers of East Grand Rapids and the Yellowjackets of Detroit Country Day. Starting for East Grand Rapids, at forward, 6'1" senior, 11, Brad Dykstra. For Country Day at forward, 6'4" sophomore, 34, Mike Mansell. And the other forward for the Pioneers, 6'2" senior, 22, Colin Exelby. At forward for Country Day, 6'3" senior, 42, Brett Imsland. For East Grand Rapids at center, 6'4" junior, 44, Brian Adloff. For the Yellowjackets at center, 6'8" junior, 55, Shane Battier. At guard for East Grand Rapids, 5'11" junior, number 12, P.J. Cwayna. For Country Day at guard, 6'2" sophomore, 15, David Weber. At the other guard for East Grand Rapids, again, number 22, Colin Exelby. And for Yellowjackets, number 20, Javin Hunter, 6-foot sophomore. Also starting for East Grand Rapids, number 40, Corbett Elsen. At forward, 6'5" senior. Head coach of the Pioneers, Scott Tompkins. Head coach of the Yellowjackets is Kurt Keener. Officials for today's game, Todd Geerlings, Dennis Boswick, and Dave Suntak. The referee, Todd Geerlings, and the alternate, Randy Johnson.
All right, Eric Furseth, thank you. Rick Berkey as well for setting us up. East Grand Rapids and Country Day getting set to go at it. There you see the starters. I'm Mark Crawford along with John Spooner. Glad to be with you from the Breslin Arena as we settle this last state championship.
When you look at the starters from East Grand Rapids, you've got 3 seniors and 2 juniors. For Country Day, you've got 3 sophomores, 1 junior, and 1 senior. Certainly the experience for East Grand Rapids is a critical factor for them in this game.
All right, these two clubs did meet for the championship last year. The East Grand Rapids folks say, hey, this is not about revenge, though. It's about us winning a championship.
Well, that's true, Mark, psychologically. That's great coaching tactic, but the reality of the matter is there's not a player on this team, nor a person in East Grand Rapids or all of West Michigan that has not forgotten that defeat last year, 55-43. And in that game, East Grand Rapids shot only 39%. And as Rick Berkey pointed out in the opening, in the last 4 games, they are shooting 64% from the field.
Elsen and Battier will jump it up to get us started. And the Yellowjackets of Country Day have the basketball to get us underway. Class B state championship on the line.
Immediately, East Grand Rapids man-to-man defense. They'll double-team Battier as much as they can.
Boy, great job. Twice Battier got it down low. Double team forced the shot. And it's the Pioneers with the board.
That's what East Grand Rapids did last night in the semifinals against the all-state player from Albion, Jason Moorhead, who's averaged 27 points. They held him to 13 points, only 4 in the second half by that same tactic. Man-to-man defense, double team, down low.
East Grand Rapids, not a club that you would suggest runs a delay or a stall, but they are very deliberate, and they wait and they find very good shots.
Well, offensively for the season, Mark, they're averaging 55 points, but 65 in the playoffs.
Oh, good pass down low. Battier with the block, had about 8 of those last year in the final. And the Yellowjackets turn East Grand Rapids away. We've played a minute, and we are scoreless.
One thing East Grand Rapids needs to do, Mark, they need to box out on the boards. They're an outstanding rebounding team. They're holding their opponents to only 12 rebounds a game. P.J. Cwayna there picking up with a bump foul. He got away with one a little bit earlier, and that time the official called him for it.
East Grand Rapids foul number 12.
P.J. Cwayna just a little bit slow. Great first step by the sophomore, Javin Hunter.
And Country Day will inbound under their own basket. They want Battier, finally get it to him. Triple team that time, and Elsen is there to grab the rebound off the rim.
They will not front Battier. Elsen will play behind him, and as soon as he goes up with a shot, you notice he had great position and boxed out on the boards.
East will try the triple. Colin Egglesby, the best three-point shooter on this Pioneer club, gives East the 3-0 lead.
And that's a great sign if you're East Grand Rapids fan. Last night he was 0 for 4 in the semifinals, but in the quarterfinals and the regional final, he was 7 for 7 from the three-point range.
Country Day, Mike Mansell, the 6'4 sophomore, answers with a 2, and East leads by 1. You mentioned in our pregame that everybody on both sides remembers last year, so it had to be important for East Grand Rapids to get on the board, the scoreboard early.
Great offensive board by P.J. Cwayna. Cwayna was the hero in last night's semifinal. 16 points in the fourth quarter, and he also led the team in rebounds with 9.
Yeah, great semifinal. You're right, 22 points on the game. In fact, a career high for him.
That's an example of the aggressiveness of East Grand Rapids. To those guys, that's like going for a fumble in football. Everybody's on the floor, everybody's hustling. That's the type of game that East Grand Rapids likes. Physical, on the ground. Let's get down and fight for the ball.
There's Scott Tompkins, the head coach at East Grand Rapids. 3rd season there. He's 62-19.
And 16-2 in the 3 years of the playoffs that he has taken East Grand Rapids to the finals.
Yeah, all 3 years he's reached the finals. You're right. 5:10 to play first quarter from Breslin. East Grand Rapids 3, Country Day 2. Class B final.
For those that have not seen East Grand Rapids, this is not a stall delay game. They're just very deliberate. They look for cutters. They set picks. They like to get the ball inside. They're awfully deliberate on their offense. They will not take a bad shot.
I think last night in the semifinal, which I did for some cable folks over toward Detroit, 9 of the first 10 East Grand Rapids shots were inside 10 feet.
Well, that's East Grand Rapids basketball, but you see Country Day doing a good job defensively. And that time, that's 2 misses now inside the paint that East Grand Rapids has missed. And you got to think that East is thinking, where is Shane Battier? Where's that big block? He averages 6 blocks a game. He had 12 in the finals last year, so you know they're conscious.
Battier off the glass, and Country Day has the lead 4-3.
For East Grand Rapids, it's real important to establish an offensive tempo. It gets them good looks inside, but they've got to be able to convert on them. They cannot miss those easy-type layups.
Oh, great pass down low, and Corbett Elsen the 2.
He's the one that he will not miss the layups. He is the hub of this team, averages 17 points a game, but he averages 17 points a game in every game that they're big, and he certainly is the key for their offense.
5-4 East by 1. Country Day comes back. Brett Imsland with the 2.
Imsland not known for his scoring, only 4 points a game, but that was a great juke outside and then took him baseline.
6-5, Country Day by a point. Battier gets the block, but there's a foul inside as well.
P.J. Cwayna is such an intelligent basketball player. He's only 5'11", but you see him, he sees the defense, he knows he's got him down, but he pump fakes, gets Battier up in the air, and then takes the ball to him, creating the foul.
First foul on Shane Battier. And P.J. Cwayna, the 5'11 junior, shoots a couple.
P.J. Cwayna, many folks who followed East Grand Rapids football knew what a hero he was as he makes that free throw in the football game. Had the last interception of the game and stalled the drive that East Grand Rapids might have come up behind, but instead P.J. Cwayna comes up with a big interception and seals the victory for East Grand Rapids in the Class BB state championships.
Ryan Adloff up over the back as they fight for the rebound. We're deadlocked at 6-6. First foul on Adloff. Yeah, East won the state football championship, and that was on a Friday, and Monday
they were playing
basketball.
Guys
were playing basketball.
You know, he started off, Rick, or Mark, they lost the first 3 games of the season. A lot of it due for the fact that most of these guys were playing football and just simply didn't have their basketball legs, but they only lost those 3 games by an average of 4 points.
Javin Hunter, the triple. Country Day, 9-6.
And Javin Hunter picking off where he left off yesterday, 26 points in the semifinals. And another layup transition for East Grand Rapids. That's the third time they've had an opportunity to score and not been able to do it.
Triple that time is short off the iron, and EGR rebounds.
Brad Dykstra bringing the ball up court. Played outstanding against Albion. Only one turnover in the entire game for him yesterday in the semifinals.
Rebounding story right now. We're even at 6-6. East gets an offensive putback. Colin Exelby.
Colin Exelby, everybody talks about Corbett Elsen, but Colin Exelby is the other half. He and Corbett combined about 48% of the entire team's offense. So for East Grand Rapids to come up with a state championship, you got to think Exelby's has to have a great game.
15-footer goes for David Weber.
15, David Weber.
Basketball rolls out onto the floor, and the officials stop play to run it down.
42.
Scott Tompkins talking about the defense collapsing inside, very much aware of Battier, and Country Day's making them pay for it by the outside shooting so far, done very well for them.
Country Day 11, East Grand Rapids 8. Great balance by Country Day here early. All 5 starters have scored.
Brian Grant coming into the game for East Grand Rapids, a great offensive lineman for that football team.
Country Day trying a little full court pressure.
Last night in the semis, when Albion ran full court pressure on East, they had no problem breaking that kind of press, and they haven't had a problem here with Country Day either.
Pull-up jumper by Corbett Elsen.
Now, Corbett Elsen can play the perimeter. A lot of times you'll see him inside with great post-up moves, but if you shut down the middle, he will come outside and knock down that 12, 14-footer.
Country Day with the basketball and a 1-point lead. Make it 3. Jim Imsland, who's checked into the ballgame. Mike Knight, a sophomore, is in now as well. So Country Day has gone to the bench here late first quarter.
A lot of movement off the ball for East Grand Rapids. Nobody standing still.
Elsen misses, Battier clears. And Shane Battier picks up the personal foul on Brian Grant. Dribbling up the floor, just kind of stops and waits for Grant to bang into him.
Well, Battier has a 3.99 grade point average, and he kind of lost control of the ball, but he did use his body very well, and he created that foul situation.
13-10 Country Day. Final minute of quarter number 1. Glad you're with us from the Breslin Arena in East Lansing. Been a great day here on Pass.
East has done a great job interior on Shane Battier, but outside, Country Day has done a very good job hitting their open jump shots.
Battier, tough turnaround, gets the shooter's bounce.
Double team a little bit late coming down, and he had a good look at the basket.
5-point lead for Country Day, and East with 15 seconds. Will walk it over the timeline, try and find a shot. Dykstra with the basketball. Elsen, the tough fadeaway at the horn. We've played one from the Breslin Arena. Country Day by 3. One of your network sponsors is Farm Bureau Insurance. You see our score as we get set to start quarter number 2, and it comes down to shooting.
Well, here's Corbett Elsen about 17, 18 feet away from the basket. Nice little turnaround jumper. Nobody got open. Very intelligent, knew exactly what kind of time he had. Less than 5 seconds, he receives the ball. Nobody cutting to the lane. Brian Grant a little bit late. And Elsen, nice turnaround fadeaway. Knocks it down from about 18.
That brings East Grand Rapids within 3 as the quarter ends, but bottom line in that first quarter is the shooting numbers favor Detroit Country Day. The Yellowjackets 7 of 11 from the field. East Grand Rapids 5 of 14.
Some of the fanatic East Grand Rapids fans are probably the same ones that put signs all over the highway of I-96, but the field goal percentage last year in the finals, Country Day held East Grand Rapids to 39% for the entire game. The roles are reversed here. Country Day shooting shooting 64%. East there 36. Not very good for East Grand Rapids. But a lot of those shots, Mark, were inside the lane. They missed 3 easy putbacks. Credit that to the fact of Shane Battier being in the middle and East Grand Rapids conscious of him rather than putting the ball in the hole.
Alternate possession, the rule in high school basketball. The arrows pointing Country Day's way as we start quarter number 2. Javin Hunter. That's Weber in the lane, lays it up and in. David Weber, the athletic move. The sophomore gives Country Day a 5-point lead.
As long as East Grand Rapids is going to double team Shane Battier, the rest of the Country Day players are taking advantage of it. That time Weber went unmolested down the middle of the lane. That's uncharacteristic defense for East Grand Rapids.
Pioneers will try the 3. Put-back opportunity will go in the foul. Grant gets the 2.
And that might be Shane Battier's second personal foul.
It is.
Nice position inside Brian Grant, and that time, that was the easy putback that they've missed 3 of them in the first quarter, but in this quarter, they're able to convert on it. You see Battier clearing out his own man, and Brian Grant from the high post just went straight down the lane, and nobody got a body on him and had an easy inside shot.
Free throw makes this one a 2-point game. Country Day 17-15. Battier stays in, will play with 2 personal fouls. We've got 7:10 still to go in our first half.
You can see East Grand Rapids defense just clogging up the middle. As long as they do that, Country Day is going to try to shoot outside.
Well, they'll muscle inside with Mike Mansell. We got a battle for the rebound, and he's going to pick up the personal. I think Corbett Elsen going to be called for throwing an elbow.
Well, I'm not sure as much as throwing an elbow, but just simply establishing position with his arm. You see the up. Now watch Elsen there. He's got position. He's got the elbow. He didn't really throw it, but he used it physically to get Shane Battier out of the way. That was a correct call by the official.
First personal on Corbett Elsen.
Inbound stack play, the look to get it outside to Battier.
55.
Well, the big guy drills it from 15. 4-point lead Country Day.
Mark, Shane Battier from the field over the season is 70% field goal shooter. That's amazing. Most guys would like to do that from the free throw line. He does it from the field.
Yeah, you're right. 6'8", a junior, 70% from the field, 80% from the line.
Nice move by P.J. Cwayna. Everybody dropped inside. He took the open lane. Nice pop-up jumper. He saw that Battier was going to come out on him, so he hesitated just a minute and put it up nicely from about 10 feet. Again, the middle clogged up by East defense, doing a good job. But as you see right there with the outside shot, Mansell exploiting that interior defense, they're going to continue to do that and force East to come out on him.
Well, they can't allow Mansell to get that kind of a look from 10 feet away. He'll bury you. 21-17 is the Country Day lead, and Country Day gets it back.
Well, Brian Adloff did a great job getting the ball back, but he is not the player that East Grand Rapids wants to bring the ball up court. He's got to get into the hand of P.J. Cwayna. See the dribble, he just simply lost control, but aggressively going down to the ground and throwing it out of bounds. But he is not the player that East wants bringing the ball up against pressure.
Battier down low, and he's fouled as he goes baseline. Either Elsen or Adloff will pick up the personal, both of them there.
That may be Corbett Elsen's second personal foul. You see him, Battier taking that great first step to the hole. Elsen a little bit late getting there, just kind of bumps him on the way up. Sometimes that's a no-call situation, but in a game like this, the official feels like he needs to take charge.
Battier with half a dozen in the ball game so far to go with the 3 rebounds.
80% from the free throw line is that young junior.
Now has 7 points, and the Country Day lead is 5 at 22-17.
Already the pace is different from last year. Last year he's trailed 20-18 in the first half.
What a great move with a bucket by Dykstra.
Well, Dykstra, he was the hero in yesterday's semifinal. He had 12 points in the game, 9 of those in the first half. He was the key to get things started against Albion, and look for Brad Dykstra. If he can continue to do that, that's a great plus for East.
Battier Battier tries the triple. East comes away and runs. 2-on-2, we got a foul. Dykstra is going to go to the line and shoot a pair. Tell you what, if we can go back and see the Dykstra score that happened about 30 seconds ago, he does a super job of protecting the ball with his body, but also goes right at Shane Battier, who's got 2 personal fouls and can't afford to go up and try and get the block.
That's a great call, Mark. You see him going up very strong and wisely uses his body to protect the ball and was able to get the layup. In this quarter, East doing a much better job on the interior offense than they did in the first quarter.
And thanks to Jim Zenick and our great crew from TCI, Oakland County.
Great shot there, Brad Dykstra getting fouled off the assist by P.J. Cwayna. East Grand Rapids not known for a transition game, but they will take it if they've got numbers. And that time, it was a 2-on-1 fast break, and East wisely going to the hole.
1-point game, middle of the second quarter. Fadeaway isn't going to fall. Battier rebounds, misses, follows, misses, and Elsen boards for EGR.
And credit that to Brian Grant. He stood his ground as Elsen was battling Battier and did not let Battier to get a good look at the basket.
The big guys are banging around underneath. And they got a whistle and a travel called on Cwayna.
Great defense by Javin Hunter from Country Day. Country Day plays in-your-face defense. They'll get right up on you tight, and if you're not careful, those kind of turnovers will happen.
Shane Battier will take a seat with 4:40 to play here in the first half. Get a rest. His club Country Day up by 1.
And Battier did not come out of the game yesterday in the semifinals, so you know he's got to be a little bit tired. Good move there by Coach Kirk Keener to get him out of the game and get him some rest here in the first half.
East Grand Rapids looking to take the lead. Won't do it. Board is grabbed down by Jim Imsland, the 6'3 senior for Country Day.
Well, Brian Grant rushed that shot. He had the inside position. If he just squared up to the basket and a nice power drop step, he could have taken it to the hole. That's the 5th time now East has missed a shot within 4 feet of the basket.
Throw liner by Javin Hunter. This guy had a career-high 26 in the semi against DeWitt yesterday.
And he's picking up right where he left off yesterday. He had 18 points in the first half against DeWitt. And East Grand Rapids not doing a good job getting their hand in his face.
Foul on Country Day. Mike Mansell got right in the face of Corbett Elsen, got his hands on the basketball, but fouled him, say the officials.
You see, here's Brad Dykstra. He gives it up to East. Corbett Elsen outside, and Mansell is right there, almost grabbed the pass at the same time that Corbett did. Could have been a jump foul, but the official said it was on his arm. Here's Javin Hunter going to the basket. Great first step. Just caught P.J. Cwayna a little flat-footed, and East's defense from the weak side not able to respond to it, and he knocks down the outside jumper.
24-21, Country Day, but East has the basketball. Elsen shuffles it underneath to Grant, who scores. Battier back in the ball game.
Most people don't realize this, but Corbett Elsen leads the team in assists, Mark, with almost 4 assists a game. And that time you saw him draw the defense and dumped it off inside to Brian Grant. That time Grant squared his shoulder to the basket and was able to put it in off the glass.
Get out, get out.
There's that 15-footer again by Hunter.
Well, I'll tell you, with Battier on the bench, coming into the game now, but when he was on the bench and Country Day was able to knock down the outside shot, that was critical for them.
Mansell just picks up another one. That's his second.
34, Mansell, his second.
Here you see the aggressive defense. No question about that call. Actually, it could have been either Hunter or Mansell.
For Mansell.
Well, we talked in our pregame. Each of these ball clubs has seen plenty of state championship kind of action before. This is the 5th trip to the basketball championship game for each school. Country Day has won titles in each of their 4 previous appearances. East won a title in Class C back in 1950, has lost 3 finals appearances in Class B since then. Runner off the glass by Weber, doesn't fall, and Elsen's there to clear the boards.
Well, David Weber that time, instead of going up to get his shot, he went up to try to draw the foul. Nobody from East fouled him, so Corbett Elsen come up with the defensive boards.
Cwayna, the pull-up jumper,
And right in the face of Shane Battier.
well, I got to believe Scott Tompkins on the East Grand Rapids bench has told his guys, let's go right at him. He's got 2 personal fouls. Let's go right at him and see if we can pick up number 3. Triple goes for Hunter. Boy, he's got the stroke right now.
He leads the team in three-pointers, only 32 though for the year. But in the last 2 games, Mark, he has lit it up outside. East had better get somebody on his face and get a hand there. Otherwise, he's going to continue this torrid shooting streak.
Whistle and a stoppage. One of our officials started up the floor and ran into a couple of the players seated at center court waiting to check in.
Well, I thought for a minute, you see the official now, he's right on the sideline and he trips over the Country Day player. Look at the Country Day player's expression. I didn't do it on purpose. Don't call me for 6 fouls. You know, official got right up. I thought for a minute, Mark, he might have called an over and back violation, but clearly Shane Battier knocked the ball out of Brian Grant's hand, and Brian wisely went back to get it. It is not a turnover. East will inbound and have the ball.
Well, that is one way to get yourself in the ballgame a little quicker as they stop play, and that allows the subs to get in. Couldn't have otherwise. Battier grabs the board, sends it the other direction. Country Day leads by 4.
Travel violation, but either way, nobody boxed out Battier. Ran the full length of the court after that defensive rebound.
Got a foul inside as Cwayna goes toward the hoop.
If that's on Battier, Mark, that'll be his 3rd personal foul. Watch this again. You see Hunter, nope, not a travel. And here's Battier coming down the middle of the lane. Nobody boxing him out. There's Brad Dykstra, and Brian Adloff. Nobody getting a body on Shane Battier.
The foul was on Javin Hunter, his 2nd, not on Shane Battier, and P.J. Cwayna will step to the line and shoot a couple.
P.J. Cwayna 62% from the free throw line for the season. But in the semifinals last night, Mark, he was 8 for 8 in the 4th quarter free throw shooting.
There's Corbett Elsen on the bench, and Cwayna looking to get to half dozen in the scorebook, and does.
This is a very important defensive stop for East Grand Rapids. With Corbett Elsen on the bench, they do not want to give up an easy basket here, and they would like to get the ball back and give themselves a chance once more for an offensive opportunity.
Get out now, in and out.
Time in the corner clock there is what remains here first half. Country Day leads by 5.
Well, he's still in a man-to-man defense, but very conscious of where number 55 is for Country Day. You can
down
see
around
right
10, you can see somebody will go to the bucket. David Weber begins to move. Weber is on board, would have counted, falls away. We've reached the half of a very entertaining Class B state championship game. Country Day by 5. This is the MHSAA on Pass.
The MHSAA on Pass is presented by Farm Bureau Insurance, proud sponsor of the MHSAA Scholar Athlete Award. By True Value Hardware, promoting good sportsmanship through the Good Sports Are Winners program. And by Tombstone Pizza.
Just 1/2 of basketball left in the 95-96 season here in the state of Michigan, and you see the Yellowjackets on top of the Pioneers by 5 at the intermission here of the Class B title tilt. Rick Berkey alongside with Bill Brandell once again. Bill, we talked about the chess match in that first half, and it's interesting. It seems like every pass, every dribble is well thought out, and yet really the score isn't that low.
You're right, Rick. We've really had textbook basketball here for one half. One main influence, and that's Shane Battier, especially down underneath the bucket. The Pioneers able to run their offense. They've gotten some great shots down underneath. In my unofficial statistics here, I've got them missing 5 pups down underneath the bucket when really the ball wasn't touched. It's the influence of the big 6'8" guy standing under there, and the Pioneers altering their shot, thinking, uh-oh, here's that big guy coming, and he's not really there. What they've got to do is change that a little bit, have the confidence to go up, put the ball in the bucket.
Now, of course, Country Day off to a great start offensively, hits 9 of its first 12 shots from the floor. And again, the great execution and shot selection by the Jackets.
Exactly. They played great basketball. Not to take anything away from them at all, but the difference in the score here, if we look at both teams playing excellent basketball, are those 5 pups that were missed down underneath.
We'll come back with our annual chat with Executive Director of the MHSAA, Jack Roberts. So stay with us. We're at half. And this is the MHSAA on Pass. At halftime of the Class B championship game, we're joined by MHSAA Executive Director Jack Roberts. And Jack, it's been another great weekend. The one-site stop here for the basketball finals continues to be a big success.
It is. It's something that I had hoped to do. Something that we're pleased that we're doing. Having everybody have an opportunity to see all the teams play their semifinal games and their final games here in one site. No traveling around, just the comfort of staying in the area and having a great time of basketball.
Attendance has grown through the years since you came to the Breslin with this concept, but really that's just a small part of a bigger picture.
That's right. This is just the final level. We have regional level and district level where in all sports we see attendance really expanding. We think it's a sign that people really like that good, wholesome, pure amateur high school athletics. It's very inexpensive entertainment for people, and each year we see our attendance growing at regular season games and on into tournament games in all sports. So it's a sign that school sports is really healthy and people still want to watch it.
You know, we get together every year and the subject of sportsmanship comes up, as it should. There continues to be some concerns about it.
Yes, we had a fall of some ugly incidents, but we try to keep in perspective that we had thousands and thousands and thousands of contests, and most of them went extremely well. We had only a few times where we had ugly things happen, but we're constantly working on sportsmanship. It's one of those things that society seems to be breaking down some, the family seems to be breaking down some, and some of that negative stuff comes to the athletic arena. So we have to constantly be vigilant, constantly work on new ideas to emphasize sportsmanship and enforce sportsmanship standards, just to tread water, just to keep from sliding backwards. And you know, we have a lot of negative models out there in sports, and in the high school level we have to continue to press for higher standards, or we'll slip into those lower standards that we see in other levels of sports.
But at the same time, Jack, we are seeing some positive expressions of sportsmanship.
We have a sportsmanship awards program that is being duplicated by a lot of leagues and conferences around our state, and I really think they're interested in doing better, and they're awarding and rewarding their schools and their spectators which reach those standards of sportsmanship that they believe is right, but so often around them see as wrong. So I really think that we're making progress, and as one community does better, other communities want to do better, but we just can't relax in this area.
The legislative body of the association, the representative council, the MHSAAs, spent a lot of time on that subject of sportsmanship. What kind of things are they talking about?
Yesterday, the council met and had about a 5-hour meeting. About an hour of it was on sportsmanship. They're talking about 14 different recommendations, proposals to improve sportsmanship. Some are in the area of improving our education, some in the area of improving our awards program, some in the area of enforcement, some more rules, and finally, maybe some efforts to expose those individuals or those schools that don't meet the standards of sportsmanship, publishing the names of those who are ejected from contests, publishing the names of those schools that are chronic offenders of sportsmanship standards. So we're working on all those fronts: education, encouragement, enforcement, and even exposing some of the bad in order to identify them and try to get them to improve.
Jack, great visiting with you once again as always.
Thank you, Rick.
Stay with us. We're at the half of the Class B championship game. Country Day on top by 5, and one of your sponsors is Farm Bureau Insurance. Back at the Breslin, halftime, Country Day with a 5-point lead over East Grand Rapids. A very well-played first half. Bill Brandell joins us again, and we talked about the execution, and the stats will show how well these teams have played today on the floor, at least for one half of basketball.
Well, they sure do. Look at the turnovers down there. 3 for East Grand Rapids, 1 for Country Day. Just 4 turnovers total in the first half. That's excellent basketball at the high school level, Rick.
A lot of teams will commit that in the first 4 minutes of the first quarter. Both teams at or about at 50% from the floor as well. Free throws a factor. East Grand Rapids getting to the line more, but right now let's look at the individual scoring leaders as well. Corbett Elsen, 6 boards to go with his 6 points, along with PJ Cwayna. And Hunter, he might be the X factor right now. Of course, he's been scoring a lot through the year, but they're concentrating more on Battier, and he'll be the guy Country Day wants to pick up some of the slack when they focus down on Battier.
Well, Javin Hunter's the guy that hits from outside when everybody backs in and closes it down on Battier. So you're right. He's come to the front and come through for the Country Day squad. So that's the difference in the ball game. They've got it inside and outside.
Still 2 quarters to go. Stay with us, and this is the MHSAA on Pass.
Mark Crawford, John Spooner back with you from Breslin, just about set to start second half. Country Day up by 5, and John, quickly a couple of highlights from the first half.
Well, with East Grand Rapids interior defense concentrating on Shane Battier, that opens up the outside jump shot. James Hunter knocking down the outside. That's 2 of 3 that he's had in the first half. Here's Corbett Elsen. You see, he'll get the ball interior. The defense will be very conscious to him. You see Shane Battier coming up the middle of the lane. Elsen, nice dish inside to Brian Grant. That time, Grant very careful with the basketball, not thinking about getting it blocked, and went up for the easy 2.
Well, and that's a very important point, as you folks at home can watch Shane Battier with the follow-up slam. Very important point. He converted the pup that time, but 5 times in that first half, East Grand Rapids players missed pups as they were perhaps thinking in the back of their mind about big Shane Battier.
You know, sometimes the thought of a shot blocker in the middle of the lane is just as bad as you getting your shot blocked.
To the hoop goes East Grand Rapids. Exelby can't get it to fall. Battier clears. Country Day by 5 as we start third quarter. Boy, it's tough underneath, and Mike Mansell, the 6'4" sophomore for Country Day, grabs the loose ball, forces it up and in.
I have to correct myself. I called Javin Hunter James Hunter. It's not James Hunter. That was his father, who was a defensive back for the Detroit Lions.
Boy, he was a great player, too.
So I apologize to Javin. Maybe not to his father. I'm sure his dad is very proud of what Javin's been doing.
Country Day by 7 and with the basketball as we prepare to crown our 4th state basketball champion here today. Saginaw grabbed the A title. DePorres has the C title. Wyoming Tri-Unity Christian, your D champion. And either East Grand Rapids or Country Day will round out the squad with the B title.
And that defensive put there for East Grand Rapids has been the success for them here in this game, doubling down on Shane Battier, forcing him to take a bad shot. They come up with a defensive rebound, but they've got to get a good look at the basket.
Reverse, nice move by Brian Adloff.
Brian Adloff averaging 5 points a game, was a key defensive player against the great Jason Moorhead from Albion last night. But Adloff and other players for East are going to have to pick up their offensive game.
Same 10 who started this ball game are on the floor here as we go early second half. Dykstra, Cwayna, Exelby, Elsen, and Adloff for East. Weber, Hunter, Mansell, Imsland, and Battier for Country Day, and that's Javin Hunter again.
Well, PJ Cwayna played good defense, had a hand up in his face, but you've got to be right in his face. You can't give him a couple feet, and PJ just a little bit too far away from Javin Hunter.
10-second call. East Grand Rapids didn't get it over the timeline.
That was very uncharacteristic for an East Grand Rapids team. Scott Tompkins prides himself on defensive discipline, and this is very critical turnover violation. But credit the defense again. David Weber putting a little bit of pressure on Brad Dykstra.
5 turnovers in the ball game now against East Grand Rapids. Only 1 against Detroit Country Day. To the hoop, we got a foul. And let's see. Is that Corbett Elsen?
Foul 45, Grant.
No, Brian Grant.
Here's David Hunter. He sees he's got the open lane, takes a step in, concentrates on the basket. Could have been Brian Grant or Brad Dykstra, either one with the foul.
It was Grant, his second personal.
Of course, David Weber, the younger brother of the great Chris Weber, and this is the one thing he does better than his brother, free throw shooting. You know, Chris Weber in high school is only 50% from the free throw line, and David Weber is shooting 67%, so at least he can call up his brother and say, hey, I'm a better free throw shooter than you.
Tell you what, the Weber family has a collection of state championship medals. Chris got 3 of them. Jason, the middle brother, got 1. David got 1 last year, and will pick up a second here as either a champ or a runner-up tonight.
Not a turnover violation because Shane Battier knocked the ball out of the hands. East Grand Rapids calling a timeout here. A good timeout by Scott Tompkins. They have not done anything offensively. He needs to make sure they're able to do something. Country
Day leads this one by 9. One of your network sponsors is Tombstone Pizza. Country Day 37, East Grand Rapids 28. This telecast is a copyrighted production of the Michigan High School Athletic Association and Pass Sports. No reproduction of the pictures or accounts of this game may take place without the express written consent of the MHSAA and Pass Sports. My name is Mark Crawford, joined courtside by John Spooner. Rick Berkey and the old coach Bill Brandell with us as well. Class B state championship game.
Extremely important offensive possession for East Grand Rapids.
Big block by Battier. Got a foul, no basket, but to the line is Javin Hunter.
Not only was that a great block by Battier, but he kept it in play. Watch what happens. He'll knock it way out, up court, and Country Day very much alert, picking the ball up as David Hunter as he takes it full court. Gives it up inside to Javin Hunter, excuse me.
Dykstra's first personal foul will send Javin Hunter, the 6-foot sophomore, to the line.
Dykstra going up at least did not allow Hunter to make the 2 points.
13 now for Javin Hunter, and Country Day with his largest lead of the game, 10 points at 38-28.
You know, I'm looking at the faces of the East Grand Rapids Pioneer players, and you got to look at them emotionally, and they've got to be thinking deja vu. Something has to happen here offensively. They need a little bit of a run here to slow down the Country Day's offense, because Country Day is gaining momentum every second of this half.
Well, you are absolutely right that they need something good to happen last trip down the floor. They got it in the hands of their go-to guy, Corbett Elsen, and got a great shot, but Battier was there with the block. Elsen again down low. This time bangs Battier out of the way and puts it up and in.
Well, a lot of people looking at that would think, why not the offensive foul? But the official is right on the baseline, and the official determined that Shane Battier wanted to draw the foul and literally left his feet before the contact was made, therefore no call.
Well, the long look by David Weber, couldn't believe he was that open, finally drains it.
Yeah, and Scott Tompkins over on East bench, he can't believe he was that wide open. You know, everybody's so conscious of Battier in the middle that East is still allowing the outside shooters to take open looks at the basket.
East down by 10. Pull up from 10 is going to fall out. Offensive board up and in by Grant.
Well, if East is going to get back into this game, good aggressive basketball will force turnovers, crash the offensive boards, and that's what East Grand Rapids needs to do if they intend to get back into this game.
Grant has 7. And on the boards, the teams are even right now, 15 rebounds each. On the scoreboard, it's Country Day with that 2. Back up by 10 again, 42-32.
Javin Hunter.
15 for Hunter.
He is just on a tear. 18 points yesterday in the first half alone in the semifinal win over DeWitt, and he is just continuing that torrid pace in the finals. Country Day staying with a man-to-man defense this entire game. Brian Adloff is not going to take that outside jump shot, even though Battier gave it to him.
Cwayna had that partially blocked, went wide, and Country Day looks to add to a 10-point lead. And we got a block on East Grand Rapids. Got to do something to stop Javin Hunter.
Well, we've talked about East Grand Rapids, a lot of the guys playing football, Mark, and you got to realize that these guys from August have been in training until now, and sooner or later, fatigue and just a little bit of weakness, Brian Adloff getting caught flat-footed, not able to get over in position, has got to catch up. And East Grand Rapids getting a little bit tired here in the finals, not doing their traditional type defense, nor their offensive ball movement. But again, this is East Grand Rapids. They're a team that are quite capable of coming back if they need to, but they've got to get a good defensive stop.
Got to travel, a little stumble by David Weber.
And a turnover is just as good as a defensive stop. Country Day with full court pressure.
And that just the second turnover of the game on Country Day. Well, they have played a clean basketball game.
Even more amazing when you realize that both of the guys that handle the ball for Country Day, both of them are sophomores.
East down 10 with the basketball. And Country Day turning up the pressure now. Very tight on the man. Forward by Battier.
Country Day now going to be very content with 2 minutes and 20 seconds to go in the quarter to slow it down a little bit. Well, maybe not.
Well, you got one guy who doesn't want to slow it down. Right now, Javin Hunter's not going to see any shots he doesn't like. He's making them all. That time he's fouled, will go to the line.
Well, I would think that Country Day wanted to slow things down a little bit, but I was wrong. Javin Hunter taking it strong to the basket. And again, Brian Adloff a little bit out of position, picks up his third personal foul.
For East Grand Rapids, number 12, PJ Cwayna.
Javin Hunter in one of those shooter's zones right now. And if he's got the basketball in his hands, he wants to send it up toward the rim. Thinks it's going to fall through.
Sooner or later, East Grand Rapids has got to start thinking about their own kind of full court pressure to force some kind of turnovers. I would not be overly surprised if after these free throws, if they're made by Javin Hunter, if East Grand Rapids doesn't try to do some kind of pressure themselves here in the third quarter.
Well, busy day here on the Michigan State University campus. Is about 100 yards away from us. Munn Arena is hosting the NCAA hockey tournament right now. In fact, the Spartans are playing tonight. So not only a big crowd here at Breslin, but Munn is loaded up as well. 12-point Country Day lead.
Well, that time you saw it as clear as the day. The presence of Shane Battier. There's going to be a foul inside, but if you can go back earlier, Colin Exelby had the layup, but he was very conscious of where Shane Battier was, and I don't think Shane was anywhere near him. Brad Dykstra taking it inside. The reach-in foul by Javin Hunter. It's his third personal foul mark.
Well, that man-to-man is really stretching out now for the Yellowjackets. They are all over East Grand Rapids, and the submarine is a foul. Brett Himsland. That works in the football finals, but not here in the basketball finals.
But that is only the first team foul, or second team foul for Country Day in the third quarter. That is amazing, Mark, with the type of defense they play. And you see there, Imsland just all over the floor. And that time he's trying to get the ball a little bit out of control and undercut Brad Dykstra. Fortunately, nobody was injured on that play. But it just goes to show you the defensive intensity of Country Day has literally taken East Grand Rapids out of any kind of offensive sync. And ability of handling the ball, bringing it up against pressure.
The Pioneers are having trouble finding any kind of a pass opportunity. To the hoop they go. Battier got a part of that one, I think, and then boards. Shane Battier now double figures in the rebounding totals, has 9 points, 10 rebounds. There's a takeaway by East.
Not a good look inside by PJ Cwayna. Elsen was well covered by Jim Imsland.
Time remaining in quarter number 3. in the corner of your screen. It's a 12-point Country Day lead. Battier has it knocked away, and Cwayna comes away with it. A little sloppy here in the last 60 or 90 seconds.
It may be sloppy, but sloppiness at this point in time favors Country Day with the big lead. East Grand Rapids has really turned down a lot of open shots, Mark.
Timeout called by East with 38 seconds left here in this third quarter. And they trail by 12. This is the MHSAA on pass.
Recognized this weekend for excelling academically and in school activities through the Michigan High School Athletics.
You look across the Breslin Center here in East Lansing, and somewhere in that crowd, 3 of the young sophomores who played for me at Penfield, Chris Antes, Justin Katz, and Brad Berkey. Spoke with them before the game. I know their dads. I'm surprised their dads aren't here. They're home watching right now. And fellas, your sons did make it here.
Yeah, and Mark Crawford's doing a good job making sure who they're sitting by, too.
44-32. Country Day out front by a dozen.
An interesting timeout with 38.5 seconds to go. Scott Tompkins knows that they need to get this basket here to end the third quarter, so he's trying to set up some kind of offensive play, but East has got to be able to shoot the ball, and they've got to be able to inbound it first before they can do anything else. Almost a 5-second violation.
You are right. Dykstra with the basketball now to Corbett Elsen. And Country Day has really turned on the pressure.
They've just done a great job of taking East Grand Rapids out of their offense, which is ball movement and control. They just simply haven't been able to do that.
Pretty good look at the basket by Dykstra, but can't make it fall. And Country Day boards with 10 seconds to try and do some damage. I'm not sure they know the time. Now Hunter sees it. And the horn sounds. 3 have come and gone here at the Breslin. Country Day by a dozen. This is the MHSAA on pass.
Country Day holds East Grand Rapids to just 6 points in the third quarter, and they've now built up a lead of 12 over the Pioneers. Rick Berkey along with Bill Brandell back here once again. And Bill, that defense, certainly a big part of that, the intimidation factor. But overall, I mean, there's a lot of defense being played all the way around besides in the middle.
Well, you're right, Rick, and it seems as though the hard-pressing defense from Country Day has begun to make East crack just a little bit. I see a little bit of panic here towards the end of this third quarter. I see them a little bit unsure of themselves and not quite the execution that we're used to from the Pioneers of East Grand Rapids.
But still a full quarter of basketball to play as Scott Tompkins Pioneers map their strategy for the final 8 minutes for them and for the Country Day Yellowjackets in the 1996 season. Back to the floor once again, and Mark and John.
You see Scott Tompkins, the Pioneer head basketball coach, and you see the field goal shooting numbers that don't look good for East.
Well, East Grand Rapids comes into this game, Mark, shooting 65% from the field over the last 4 games. The only thing you can attribute it to is a smothering defense of Country Day that's taking East out of good looks at the basket, and East Grand Rapids very conscious of Shane Battier in the middle.
Country Day, as you mentioned earlier, may well be willing now to take a little time off the clock with each possession. Certainly be patient, wait for very good shots. No hurry as they lead by 12 in the fourth quarter.
That time you saw David Weber with the opportunity to go to the basket, instead elected to bring it out. I'm sure that in the timeout, that's what Kurt Keener, the coach for the Yellowjackets, said. Make sure you don't take a shot unless it's a good one.
Hunter misses, but there to board is Shane Battier. Ball is out of bounds and last touched by Mansell.
Shane Battier might have gotten away from an offensive foul, but if you remember, in the third quarter, Corbett Elsen did the same thing to him, and the officials let it go, so they're even up a little bit here.
And Country Day up 12, fourth quarter, going to put on the full court pressure now.
Colin Exelby for East Grand Rapids has not been able to get a shot off since the very beginning of the second quarter.
Well, we got a travel called on Dykstra. And it took away Exelby's easy 2 down low.
Costly turnover by Dykstra, uncharacteristic. Last night in the semifinals against Albion, he had only 1 turnover in the entire game against a pretty good Albion pressure defense.
Well, it is not as if East has committed all kinds of turnovers and made all sorts of mistakes here. In fact, only 7 in this basketball game. But Country Day has been near perfect and played great smothering defense.
Good job by Brian Adloff stepping in front of the player. There's Colin Exelby. He's the one that really needs to get his shot off. He's the leading three-point shooter on the team, but he just hasn't been able to get a good look at the basket. The defense by Javin Hunter doing an outstanding job on Colin Exelby.
Corbett Elsen. Tough shot doesn't go. They fight for the board, and coming away with it, Mike Mansell for Country Day.
Brian Adloff had the offensive rebound, but David Weber got a hand in it and knocked it out. And again, you see the deliberate style now of Country Day. Very comfortable with slowing the pace of this game down, up by 12. That is just really critical for East, having not scored in 5 minutes, 20 seconds. Battier getting open again inside. Now the interior defense of East starting to break down.
Double-double for Battier now. Has 11 points to go with his 12 rebounds. Also picks up his 3rd foul there as East in transition. And we'll shoot 2 with the East Grand Rapids in.
That's a big break.
Critical now. 5:40 to play and a 14-point Country Day lead.
You see on the replay, Corbett Elsen a little bit out of control. Didn't have hands on the ball, but much like as he is a quarterback for a state championship team, when there's a fumble in the air, he's the one that pulled it down. Battier picking up his 3rd personal foul. Corbett Elsen going to the free throw line, shooting 59% for the season.
Little delay here as they try and take some of the sweat off the floor, where we had a couple of big guys collide. Elsen and Battier both on the...
Nelson, you saw there, only 8 points so far in this game. He comes in averaging 18 points a game for East Grand Rapids. Very consistent. You know, a lot of times, Mark, when you are focusing on a defensive opponent like Shane Battier, sometimes it takes you out of your own offensive game. And Corbett Elsen has worked awfully hard defensively on Shane, but offensively he's just not been able to get the good looks at the basket that he's used to.
9 points, 8 rebounds in this one for Corbett Elsen. Young man who's headed off to Northwestern, where he'll be a college quarterback for the Wildcats. 13-point Country Day lead.
I got to think that East Grand Rapids a little bit tired. You saw Brad Dykstra being beaten there by David Weber rather easily. Weber not electing to take the ball to the basket, but bringing it back out.
Well, and 5 guys playing almost the entire game for the Pioneers.
Country Day very content with a patient offense. It's not really a stall. They do want to get the basket, but they want to make sure it's a very good look at the basket. If they don't get somebody open inside or somebody cutting down the middle, then they'll take the outside jumper if it's there. If not, they'll bring it out like they just did and slow it down again.
That one loose on the floor, out of bounds. Last touched by Elsen, they say. I'll tell you, if you're the rest of Class B, the really bad news is that 4 of the 5 guys on the floor for Country Day are back again. 3 of them sophomores and Battier a junior.
Well, it's just an amazing accomplishment for this Country Day team. David Weber, a sophomore, Javin Hunter, a sophomore, starting off the year very young, didn't realize what it took, but as the year progressed, their confidence grew, and here in the state finals, they have really played up to their potential.
Country Day has taken a minute 10 off the clock on this possession already, and they've still got the basketball.
Well, East Grand Rapids has to think about being aggressive.
Good play there from the floor. P.J. Cwayna got a hand into the basketball, knocked it off the legs of a Country Day player and out of bounds.
Well, P.J. Cwayna is the most intense player on this East Grand Rapids team. If there's going to be a comeback for East, it's him. He's the one that's going to have to start it. And they're also, I think, have got to get Colin Exelby active into the shooting. But Javin Hunter right there with great defense. Weber.
That's Weber.
Yeah, it was Weber. They switched up. Javin Hunter normally was guarding Colin Exelby, but that time David Weber stepped in the passing lane, was able to convert on the easy transition.
Now Weber in double figures. He's got 10. 48-33, a 15-point lead for Country Day, and East Down low, tosses it out of bounds.
That's David Weber stepping into the passing lane, uses the hand nearest to the ball to knock it away, and then runs it down. Colin Exelby just couldn't catch up with him. Fatigue possibly a factor here for this East Grand Rapids team. Remember, they did play late last night in the semifinals in that big win over Albion.
Less than 4 minutes to play now. Country Day by 15. The foul on East Grand Rapids.
A hand check on Brad Dykstra.
Not in the 1-on-1 yet. Second foul on Brad Dykstra. 15 foul. So East was still one more to give before Country Day is going to shoot. There's Kurt Keener looking for his 5th state championship.
And Corbett Elsen, I think, just picked up his 4th personal foul. Shane Battier taking a long outside jumper, and Elsen going out to challenge him.
His 3rd 16th foul.
Excuse me, that'll be his 3rd personal foul. So Elsen not yet in foul trouble.
3 shots, fellas, relax.
Battier will get 3 from the line.
3.
Well, Shane Battier, 80% from the free throw line, and we've already said 70% as a field goal shooter. As a matter of fact, Mark, the top 5 players for Detroit Country Day all shoot over 60% from the field. So this is the team that is able to shoot the ball very well. And coming into this game, so has East Grand Rapids. But the defensive Country Day has eliminated that kind of offensive output for East Grand Rapids, not giving them the easy shots they're normally used to off their offensive ball movement.
The lead is 18 for Detroit Country Day. Long triple. Well, there's the guy you wanted to see shoot. Colin Exelby had to fire up an NBA range triple. Makes the tray back within 15. Comes East. One of your network sponsors is Farm Bureau Insurance. Mark Crawford, John Spooner with you from Breslin. And John, you've been wanting Colin Exelby into the action for East Grand Rapids. They find him here.
Well, East Grand Rapids, Mark, they've only shot 53 pointers or 139 attempts, 3-pointers. They've made 50 of them. They're not a good outside shooting team, but Colin Exelby has 45 of the 53 pointers that East has made this year. If there's any chance for East to get back into this game, it is going to be Colin Exelby that's got to shoot the ball when he gets his hands on it.
Country Day basketball, and here's East now, full court. And boy, that was too easy for Country Day. To the hoop goes David Weber.
Well, that was why East called the timeout to set up the full court press. But Kurt Keener's a smart coach. He knows what's going on, and he set it up to defeat it and did quite well.
Triple try isn't going to fall. Mansell boards for Country Day. Ahead to Hunter, he's fouled.
That will be Corbett Elsen's 4th personal foul, or Brian Adloff. I'm not sure which one the official will give them to, but the backcourt scoring has really been the key for Country Day. 35 points in the backcourt, and East backcourt normally averaging almost 30 themselves, only 12.
Well, Sunday afternoon at 3, we'll have the Class A final in the 1996 MHSAA Lower Peninsula Volleyball Tournament. The Class A showdown pits Kalamazoo Central against Temperance Bedford. Stay with us as the Best in High School Championship sports coverage continues here on Pass. And what a great day we've had here at Breslin. Saginaw, DePorres, Wyoming Tri-Unity Christian. Those 3 schools have won state basketball titles. Country Day 3-10 away from grabbing the Class B crown.
Well, Javin Hunter knocking down those 2 free throws. He certainly has been a key factor in both the semifinal win over DeWitt and the finals against East. He's a player that probably East Grand Rapids wasn't too conscious of, but he certainly has come out on fire in this game.
19 points for Hunter. Triple going to be wide of the mark. Battier is there for the board.
Javin Hunter all over Colin Exelby, not allowing him any look at a 3-point attempt.
East Grand Rapids foul. 11. Brad Dykstra is 3rd. 18 foul. Bonus on for Country Day.
We'll step back to the line for Country Day. David Weber.
I'll tell you what, Coach Brandell made an excellent point when he was talking about the East Grand Rapids players at the third quarter. Faces were down, a little bit discouraged, not the same spark or fire or confidence. And you've got to think in the back of their minds, as far back as you can get, remembrance of last year in the first half, much like it was last year in the first half. He's coming out of the locker room at the halftime, just simply able not to put it together. Battier with a big steal. And Country Day very content, Mark, to slow it down and force the fouls.
55-36, Country Day. 2.5 to play. Javin Hunter still wants to shoot some more. He hasn't missed too many today. We've got a foul on Country Day as we head up the floor. Looks like Brett Imsland will pick up the personal.
Country Day foul, 42.
Well, a lot of things have not gone East Grand Rapids' way. Here's Bad Dykstra, a very excellent ball handler. He gets fouled by Brett Imsland. But that is only the 4th team foul for Country Day, so East Grand Rapids not going to the free throw line.
Javin Hunter will head over to the bench, talk with Coach Kurt Keener. Sits down with 19 points. Battier hustling, gets his hand on the basketball.
And actually knocked it out of bounds off of P.J. Cwayna. Cwayna tried to pull his hands back real quick, but the official right there with the correct call.
Country Day having trouble. 5-second call before they got the timeout, say the officials.
5-second violation.
Well, again, East Grand Rapids has got to somehow find a way to get Colin Exelby open. The defense of Country Day doing a great job, but if Colin can get it, he'll fire from anywhere.
Well, he does there. Can't get it. The follow-up pup won't go either, and we've got a foul underneath. Videotapes of the title games of the 1996 MHSAA Boys Basketball Tournament are available for purchase through Advanced Video Service. Each game will be available in VHS format at a cost of $24, which includes all taxes and handling charges. In ordering, be sure to indicate the sport and class of the game desired. Orders may be directed to Advanced Video Service, 5547 Columbiaville Road in Columbiaville, 48421. Checks should be made payable to Advanced Video Service, and please allow 2 to 4 weeks for delivery.
Mark, this is what happens when a team is aware of a great shot blocker. That time inside, Brian Adloff had a good look at the basket, but instead of looking at the rim, he was looking to see where Shane Battier was and missed the easy putback. And that is what's been a problem for East Grand Rapids this entire game. They've been too conscious of where Shane Battier is and not conscious or focused enough on putting the ball in the hole.
Jim Imsland hits both free throws. The lead is 21 for Country Day. And
there's Colin Exelby going out of the game.
Corbett Elsen going to follow him here. And the East fans will give these young men deservedly a big round of applause.
2 great seniors for East Grand Rapids over their 3-year career. These 2 guys have averaged 50% almost of East Grand Rapids' entire offensive output. Corbett Elsen very, very dejected. But this young man has got to be awfully proud of his accomplishments, and East Grand Rapids fans proud of their team. 3 straight years in the state finals in basketball. They may not win, but they certainly have made East Grand Rapids and the entire West Michigan area very proud.
Country Day sending the starters to the bench as well. You see Shane Battier celebrating with teammates with just over 2 minutes to play and a 21-point Country Day lead.
And on the court right now, you've got 10 new players. And again, this is now on the bench. These are guys that have worked hard all year long, haven't got a whole lot of playing time, but what a great privilege for both of these teams to be able to get their guys from the bench inside.
You see the foul quickly, the 10 on the floor now for Country Day. Imsland, Upward, Janveja, Gregor, and Rawls Miha for East Grand Rapids. Metering, Edison, Norcus, Bulk, and Myers.
And Norcus just knocked down a 3-pointer.
57-39 is your score. Country Day will make it back-to-back state titles and 5 state basketball championships in the last 8 years.
Coach Kurt Keener, 5 for 5, coming to the state finals. 3 with Chris Weber, and now 2 with 2 of Chris's brothers and Shane Battier.
East Grand Rapids looking for triple opportunities. Now the smart shot on the inside, but it won't go for Norcus and Country Day boards. Boy, rough and tumble out near center court. A rugby scrum on the Spartaness.
Well, these are 2 benches, Mark. These guys don't get a whole lot of playing time, and they don't care where it is. The score, as far as they're concerned, when they came into the game, was 0-0, and now it's up to the bench to redeem. And you can figure the East Grand Rapids bench is going to say, look, we're going to take it to Country Day's bench, and we're going to show you what scoring is.
Well, the final score in this one will not be indicative of the kind of basketball game we had. 5-pointer at the half. Country Day 31-26. And just sweltering pressure by Country Day. Great man-to-man defense in the second half told the story.
Well, Mark, you would think that East Grand Rapids, and they did, had the experience factor coming into this game. They've been here 3 years in a row. They've got the seniors, Exelby and Corbett Elsen. But it was the inexperience and the youth of Country Day that really turned the table on East Grand Rapids.
Nice little scoop shot inside by East. We've got a foul, and we'll shoot 2. At the Pioneer end, looks like Ted Bulk, a 6'2" junior, who will have an opportunity.
You know, a lot of people watching are saying, just let the game get over with. But that's unfair to these kids on the floor right now. They're working hard. It's a state championship. They're not going to give up anything easy to anybody.
Jarrett Lewis, a sophomore, has checked in now for Country Day. Ian Hartshorn as well. Then upward in as both coaches trying to give as many young men as possible an opportunity to see some playing time here on the Breslin floor in this Class B state championship game.
It's hard not to draw comparisons, Mark, to last year's finals. The ending score of last year was 53-43. It's right now 57-41. A lot of the same things have happened to East Grand Rapids in this final that happened last year. I'm not sure what the call is. There obviously was a foul.
Yellowjackets foul 22, Alex Gregor.
Foul is on Gregor, the 6-foot senior, number 22. And we're in the bonus, so we'll shoot the 1-and-1.
Well, on the line is John Myers. John Myers, 6'4" freshman, a good-looking young man for East Grand Rapids for the future, so it's nice for him to get some experience. He's shooting 91% from the free throw line, 11 for 12 for the season.
Well, we saw so many good young players today here in this day of championships on pass. In fact, we counted up before the start of this one, of the 40 young men who started in these 4 championship games, 20 were seniors, the other 20 underclass. We saw 2 freshmen start. We saw about 10 sophomores start, and these are not just folks who were hangers-on. These were leaders on their teams in some cases. Just some terrific young talent in the state of Michigan.
Well, not only in the finals do we see young players, but in the semifinals also, you got the 2 sophomores from Manton High School that certainly will be coming back. And just a lot of youth, a lot of credit to the youth basketball organizations and elementary schools getting involved and junior high schools getting involved with basketball. A lot of adults taking advantage and getting involved in coaching and officiating. So the sport of basketball is alive and well in the state of Michigan.
Myers free throw. And we'll stop for a moment. Another substitution. Andy Niederin, the 5'9" junior, will check back in for East.
It's got to be a very bitter disappointment for Corbett Elsen and Colin Exelby, the 2 seniors for East Grand Rapids, as well as Brian Grant. Be a turnover on Country Day going out of bounds.
East will get it back one last time.
What a great credit, Corbett Elsen, the East Grand Rapids senior, Northwestern bound, 6th appearance in the state finals for that young man.
And the Class B state championship stays with the Yellowjackets of Detroit Country Day. 57-43, they defeat East Grand Rapids. This is the MHSAA on pass. Country Day, your Class B state champions, and for presentation of medals and trophies, let's go to public address announcer Eric Forseth.
Ladies and gentlemen, before the presentation of the championship trophy and medals, let's acknowledge these two fine teams for their achievements this year and their play here today. At this time, we direct your attention to center court, where Tarleton Small, athletic director, Pontiac Northern High School, member of the Michigan High School Athletic Association Representative Council, will make the awards presentations. First, let us honor the runner-up in Class B, the Pioneers of East Grand Rapids. First, we will present individual medals. Number 10, Andy Niedering. '21, Corey Dunn. 24, Mike Edison. 30, Mike Nurkis. 32, Ted Bulk. 42, John Myers. 45, Brian Grant. Number 11, Brad Dykstra. Number 12, PJ Cwayna. '22, Colin Exelby. 40, Corbett Elsen. 44, Brian Adloff. And accepting the runner-up trophy in Class B, the coach of the Pioneers of East Grand Rapids, Scott Tompkins. Congratulations to the Pioneers of East Grand Rapids on an outstanding season. And now for the 1996 Michigan High School Athletic Association Class B champions, the Yellowjackets of Detroit Country Day. First, we will present the individual medals. Number 10, Ben Upward. Number 14, Sagar Janvesa. '22, Alex Gregor. '24, Mike Knight. '25, Ryan Kais. Number 30, Martin Rowles Meehan. '32, Jarrett Lewis. '33, Ian Hartshorn. '44, Colleen Haywood. Emsland. David Weber. Javin Hunter. .34 Mike Mansell. .42 Brett Emsland. And .55 Shane Battier. Accepting the championship trophy for the Yellowjackets of Detroit Country Day, Kurt Keener.
My friend, I'd much rather beat this than the last time.
Congratulations to the Yellowjackets of Detroit Country Day, the 1996 Class B boys basketball champions.
Detroit Country Day wins its second straight basketball championship and their fifth in the last 8 years. Stay with us, more to come. One of your sponsors is Tombstone Pizza. Well, the basketball season has finally concluded across the state of Michigan in boys basketball, and Detroit Country Day is our final champion of the night. But there's still a little talking about basketball to do, so let's go down courtside with some happy Yellowjackets, our Mark Crawford and John Spooner.
All right, thank you, Rick Berkey. You're right. I think we do have a happy crew down here. Country Day, 5th title for Coach Kurt Keener. I want to talk about 2 statistical pieces real quickly with you here. First half, 1 turnover for your ball club. Outstanding job taking care of the basketball.
We've talked all year about maybe trying to play the perfect game in that respect, and they really came up big today. I can't say enough about my team, and we try to peak in March, and I think we peaked on March 23rd.
Led by 5 at the half, and then the second half, really the story was great team defense. You played the man-to-man. You were in their face. 14-minute stretch in the second half. East Grand Rapids scores 10 points.
Well, we take great pride in our defense, and we have a great deal of respect for Scott Tompkins and the whole East Grand Rapids program. We felt, though, if we could get down and communicate and play as a team, we could shut them down, and these kids really did that tonight.
You've won 5 of these now. It's got to be a habit you're enjoying, I guess, huh?
Each one is special. Each group of kids is special, and tonight it just feels wonderful. I tingle all over. I'm very blessed to have the opportunity to coach these guys and to be in this situation.
John?
Well, I've got Shane Battier and Javin Hunter. And Shane, first of all, you come in averaging over 20 points a game. You only had 14 or 15 points, but you had 15 rebounds. How has your role changed here in the playoffs?
Well, this kid here, Javin Hunter, he's had the hot hand during this tournament run. And I'm not anyone to stand in the way of someone who's a hot hand like Javin, so I just deferred to him and let him take the show.
How conscious do you think that East Grand Rapids was of your shot blocking abilities in the first quarter? 3 times they had easy looks, but they were looking for you instead of the basket.
Well, I think after last year when I had 8 blocks in the finals, they were going to come in little scared. So I think that helped our game out a lot.
Javin, you had 19 points tonight. You had 26 or 27 yesterday in the semis. Offensively, you have taken the load off of Shane Battier.
Oh, yeah, I just try to come out in playoffs. I know it's a crazy time. Everybody wants to come out and play hard, and I just tried to come out and do the best that I could.
You're a sophomore. Did you feel nervous? Did you feel any pressure at all before the game?
Oh, no. We came here last year, and I was ready to play. I'm starting this year, so it was even more exciting this year.
Now talk about the defense on Colin Exelby, the great outside shooter for East Grand Rapids. You held him to only 4 attempts in the entire second half.
Well, Coach stressed at the beginning of the game that he was a good shooter and that we need to stay low and get a hand in his face every time he shot, and that's what I tried to do.
Well, gentlemen, great ball game. Back-to-back state championships for Detroit Country Day. Go enjoy the celebration in the locker room.
Thank you much.
Back to you, Rick.
Okay, well-deserving crew there of that state championship. You know, Bill Brandell often prolific offenses in football. Talk about point-a-minute teams. Well, I think maybe the Country Day defense has added the new phrase at the point-a-minute defense. In the second half, 16 minutes of basketball, they gave up only 17 total points.
Well, and they also did it with very few fouls, Rick, if you remember that. I mean, they were right in people's faces, as the young men described out there that Coach Keener wanted them to do. At the same time, they weren't hacking people. They weren't just reaching. That's concentration. That's great coaching. That's moving the feet. That's doing the fundamentals that coaches have been stressing all year long, and doing it under a pressure situation. An excellent exhibition of basketball here tonight by Detroit Country Day.
And when you combine that type of defense, and as they said, one turnover in the first half against a team that has been playing so well. We talked about, John mentioned that East Grand Rapids had shot 65% from the floor for the last 4 games as a team. To smother them like that really truly shows you what kind of defensive effort.
Well, last night we saw East Grand Rapids play against a very good Albion team that put pressure defense on. And East Grand Rapids was able to shoot a high percentage against them by working their offense and getting that open shot down underneath the bucket, so the percentage stayed up there. Again, that just emphasizes how much better Country Day's defense was tonight, because they weren't playing against a slouch of a team. East Grand Rapids is a wonderfully schooled ball club themselves, and to shut them down that way and do it without fouling, sending East to the foul line to make free throws, that's just an outstanding performance.
We'll take one more break and summarize all the activity today, so stay with us. This is the MHSAA On Pass.
The MHSAA On Pass is presented by Farm Bureau Insurance, proud sponsor of the MHSAA Scholar Athlete Award. By True Value Hardware, promoting good sportsmanship through the Good Sports Are Winners program. And by Tombstone Pizza.
With a final look at the numbers in the Class B title, let's go back to the floor once again and Mark and John.
Thank you, Rick. Back-to-back years, 2 great basketball teams. Country Day and East Grand Rapids find their way to the final here at Breslin, and those back-to-back ball games won by Country Day, and really deja vu, John.
Absolutely. Last year, Country Day holds East Grand Rapids mark to 39% field goal shooting, and after shooting 45% in the first half, East Grand Rapids goes 5 for 19 in the second half and ends up at 37% from the field. That is incredible statistic when you think that over the last 4 games coming into the finals, East Grand Rapids has shot 64% from the field. Just an absolute credit to the defense of Detroit Country Day.
Tell you what, look at that turnover number there, 11 for each ball club, and a good number of those came in the last couple of minutes as play got a little helter-skelter and the benches were emptied. Really, both clubs played great, clean basketball.
Yes, they did, and the other stat you would look at that would help you with that is 28-21 in rebounds. Not a whole lot of differential. Neither team taking bad shots, Mark. The problem for East Grand Rapids in the second half, they were not taking enough shots, and the shots they did take, they were frustrated by the interior defense or the possibility of that interior defense from Shane Battier.
All right, John, great working with you again. Enjoyed the day here. And Rick Berkey, a final thought from us would just be our thanks to a wonderful crew from TCI and Oakland County who worked 4 games today and did a great job.
Certainly did. Congratulations to you, as well as earlier today, Tim Stout and Gregory Kelzer for his fine work as well. We hope you've enjoyed our basketball and volleyball coverage here on Pass today, and hope you'll join us Sunday afternoon at 3 when we conclude our volleyball coverage with the Class A championship match in the 1996 MHSAA Lower Peninsula Girls Tournament between Kalamazoo Central and Temperance Bedford. Your Class B champion is Detroit Country Day, a 57-43 winner over East Grand Rapids. Now for Mark Crawford, John Spooner, Bill Brandell, and our production crew from TCI Cablevision of Oakland County, I'm Rick Berkey. So long, everybody.